Welcome to another episode of Game Changers for Government Contractors. I'm your host, Michael Lejeune. And if you are new to our podcast, you're new to me, I want to give you a quick little intro. So I've been in this market for a little over 20 years, specializing in helping government contractors win government contracts. We've helped our clients win a little over $14.5 billion in just the last decade alone. And we've written 5 Amazon #1 best-selling books. And additionally, we coach government contractors one-on-one as well in a group coaching environment. To learn more about that, you can just go to federalaccess.com and you'll learn all about the services we provide. And feel free to just reach out to me, whether it's on LinkedIn or through the email right on our website. So let me dive in and talk today about your LinkedIn growth strategy. A lot of people want to use LinkedIn, but aren't really sure about what to do with it. So today I want to talk about some areas you can optimize, areas you should be thinking about, because a lot of people just kind of haphazardly approach LinkedIn. And I think there's a handful of areas that I want to walk through with you today that will give you a new appreciation for the platform. So first of all, as of the date I'm recording this, I think I have somewhere in the neighborhood of 18,000 or so followers on LinkedIn. My partner Josh has 10 or 12,000 followers. And one of the things that we've noticed is as we've grown on LinkedIn and other areas, it's just opened the door for us to reach more people and have them connect with us, ask us questions, that sort of thing. And so LinkedIn is a very powerful tool, whether you're selling B2B, B2G, B2C, doesn't really matter. When you have this type of business, you can leverage LinkedIn to get more work. And so one of the, I think the myths in this market is that social media as well as your website are not that important, when it couldn't be farther from the truth these days. Contracting officers, teaming partners, they are all looking at your social media. They're all looking at your website to validate that you can do the things you say you can do. So it's very important to actually keep up on this. And if you are listening to this and you don't have a LinkedIn profile, I highly encourage you to do it because it is such a good tool, even if you're just using LinkedIn as a research tool. I use it for research all the time. So let me jump in and talk about number one. Number one is optimizing your profile for government contracting. You need to make sure that the headline in your profile clearly communicates your niche and your niche customer. So what do you do and who do you do it for? Those are some really important things. You can use keywords in there. I highly recommend that. Like for me, you'll see the words government contracting in there because that's what we do. And that helps people find you when you use keywords in there, relevant keywords to that. But optimizing your profile, not just your headline. Mine says something along the lines of connect with me if you want to learn more about winning government contracts. It's very simple, to the point. It's also a call to action. And so your headline is great, but going through and putting in your job history, like what you've done, your universities, your certifications, looking at the places that you can use for slides and all that kind of stuff. There's so many opportunities to connect content from your website, from Amazon, for wherever it may be. You can connect all that content into your profile so people get a better idea of who you are and what you do. So optimizing your profile for that's really important. You can use ChatGPT to help write content for that and optimize your content if you're not sure what should be in your job descriptions and things like that. You please use those tools to help with that sort of thing. But you need to modify and optimize your profile and add sections to it. So like if you are a business that works in different languages, add the French version or the Russian version or the Chinese version, add the whatever you need to your profile so that people that read those languages can actually connect with you. So those are just some simple ways to optimize your profile. The next one here is to showcase thought leadership with posts and articles. Just by continually posting on the platform, creating articles in the platform. It used to be called articles, and I think they still have that, but now there's a newsletter function. I highly recommend the newsletter function. But if you want to excel in any business, you need to move yourself from just a business owner and evangelist for your company to a thought leader in your space and post about things that are relevant to government contracting. Here's a really simple example of that. The SBA at the time of this recording is making some significant recommendations, or has made significant recommendations to the Hub Zone program and to the small business program as a whole. Our company is making a massive post. My partner Josh Frank wrote a huge document on this, the impacts to small business, and this is something we're going to share. So there are things like that that you can share about. If you're in cybersecurity, you should be talking about CMMC and how it's going to affect small business and your expertise and those kind of things. If you're a project manager, there's things you could talk about that. So there's always a topic you can showcase in there, but I highly recommend you are focusing on some level of thought leadership and posting about that, commenting on other posts about that other people are talking about. So you can easily search those comments and engage with people on that. The next one that I have on my list is to engage with relevant groups. You don't need to join every group inside of LinkedIn, but there are select groups where people are talking about your industry. Contracting officers are there, teaming partners are there, other people in government are there, like appointees, and you need to be engaging with relevant groups and posting in there, commenting, and sending your articles or newsletter information to that. But you need to engage with relevant groups for your business. And that's not just, hey, the Army has a group, so I'm going to connect with that because we want to sell the Army. But if you're in project management, is there a PM group that's specific to government contractors? Go look that up, engage with it. So that's a really simple one. The next one is leveraging LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Now, this one isn't for everybody, but LinkedIn does have a sales tool that will help you identify decision makers and help you build your network and things like that. And there's a claim that it has helped increase profile views by hundreds of percent. I can't verify that, but I can tell you that a lot of people that use Sales Navigator, which is a paid feature, speak very, very highly of it. And so depending on what you do and how you prospect, especially if you have a smaller network right now, say you only have 200 connections or 100 connections, that may be a tool that you want to consider. I'm at a point now in my business where we are doing so much that I don't need that tool, but I may re-engage it at another time. So LinkedIn Sales Navigator is something you want to check out in order to reach decision makers and grow your business. The next one is engaging with agency and industry content. Almost every agency has a LinkedIn page or people that post on LinkedIn, and you should be connecting with those people, following their content, and engaging with them on it, because that is a very easy way to put yourself in a situation where next time you call a contracting officer, if you've been commenting on their post and building a rapport with them, you're no longer going to be Mike, some random guy that I don't know. You're like, oh, you're Mike from LinkedIn. Oh, it's great to talk to you. I really appreciate every time you comment on my stuff and share it. You've had some really engaging comments, and I just really appreciate the interest in what I do. So it's as simple as that. You don't have to get too complicated, but knowing what's going on with those agencies is important. And you may find out things through their LinkedIn profile that you don't find out through a website or newsletter with them. You know, there may be a new opportunity, a new contract win, a new ask, a new sources sought, a new RFP. There's things like that pop up sometimes on here that you're not catching with a SAM search simply because of the keywords they're using. So engage with agency and industry content. So on the industry side, it's teaming partners, following their pages, following their content, commenting on their content. Those are all ways to engage at that level to increase your network yet again, but also get some exposure in the market. The next one, number 6, is network actively with prime contractors. So not enough people are reaching out to their prime contractors on LinkedIn. You should be reaching out to connect with these people, not just following them. There's really enough said with that one, but when you are trying to get to a new command, or there's a contract vehicle or whatever it may be, you can simply Google that contract vehicle, the city it's in, and you'll find program managers, directors, contracting officers in that location with those titles, and you can zero in on that. So if you know Lockheed Martin is working on a specific contract vehicle in Houston, you can put Lockheed Martin in Houston in there, and all of a sudden it's probably going to whittle down the thousands of people in Lockheed Martin down to 3. Because they're probably going to have that in their headline or title description. And now hey, I'm going to start with these 3 people, and that's who I need to network. And it may not be any of those three. It may be somebody else you need to talk to, but I guarantee most of the time, one of those three people is going to know who you need to talk to. And simply by networking with them, that's going to help. I also recommend, this is number 7, highlighting your certifications and past performances examples, as well as contract wins. Share that stuff. Share your relevant content on there, because everybody's looking at this stuff. Everybody's looking at this stuff, and when your connections are out there. And so share it, emphasize it in your profile. There's places where you can put links to things in your profile. There's places where you can add a slide deck to your profile, or send them to, like, I have books on Amazon, so we send them there. There's really cool places where you can do that. You can write an article about something or a newsletter post, and you can do that in there. So highlight that stuff so people know it's going on. This is a place to not just educate your market, but brag about all the cool things you're doing. Number 8 here, which is kind of my final recommendation for this podcast, because there's just so many areas I can go, but I didn't want to be too overwhelming here. Number 8 is use LinkedIn to connect with everybody you meet, especially when you're going to conferences and events. I typically try to connect with people on the day, usually right after I meet them, sometimes while I'm talking to them, especially if we're not connected. If you pull up the LinkedIn app on your phone and hit in the search bar, you'll see a little barcode in there. You click that, and inside there's 2 options. One, to scan with your phone somebody else's barcode or QR code. And the number 2 is, what is your QR code? And so you'll just hold that up. They'll scan it. It brings them right to your profile without having to search for it and fumble through it. Just a really quick way to make sure you're connected with those people. And so I highly recommend you connect with everybody you meet, everywhere you go, because you never know when that connection is going to turn into something. So don't just pick up business cards. Make sure you're connecting with them on LinkedIn. Send them a short little message. Hey, it was great meeting you at the 8A conference. I really enjoyed our conversation about what the Army is doing down at Fort Hood, or wherever it may be, or what the government's doing about CMMC. That was a really good discussion. If you find that article that you were talking about, I'd really love for you to send that over to me. So connect with them and connect the dots in their brain to your conversation, and then continue to follow up with them on LinkedIn. Don't make it a one-time thing. Continue to build the relationship over the platform, because it is really easy for people to engage with you on that platform, and I just highly recommend you using it for that. So those are my tips for improving your LinkedIn growth strategy. And I think even if you just pick 1 or 2 of those, you will find yourself growing very rapidly on LinkedIn. So if you have questions about this, be sure and just let me know. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn, of all places. That's a really great way to reach out to me. You can send me an email at mlejeune@rsmfederal.com. You can go on our website, fill out a form, and that'll make it to me in one way or another. So thank you for listening to this episode or watching it on YouTube, and I look forward to the next episode.